Good morning to you. Uh, Today I am in the pre-scene material for strategic case study examination, page number 9, and we can start from rail. So it's the pre-scene material says rail transport offers a number of advantages over road. So rail transport is generally more sustainable than road transport with lower emissions per ton kilometer. So for your knowledge, they are refreshing your knowledge base that rail transport is generally more sustainable than road transport with lower emissions per ton kilometer. So in UK, I want to specify one thing to you for Sri Lankan students. The rail transport can be, the energy can be provided by electricity. Electric cables and everything, there is a very good infrastructure. So rail is powered by electric cables, and where rail transport is generally more sustainable than road transport with lower emissions per ton kilometer. So lower emissions. So emission, as you all know, this is a corporate social responsibility of any one of the organization, even if you are in logistics company. Even if you are, that means if you are in logistics company, you will have to consider more about reducing the CO2 level. So it's a teamwork towards achieving the less emissions, okay, and less waste to the CO2, okay, to the environment. And then using rail reduces congestion on the roads. That means, again, as you all know, when you are driving on the road, okay, there may be some traffic due to road works on the road work reported or something, or maybe due to if there is any accident on the highway or something, then the total until it cleared, okay, the total system will be restricted for a, okay, or there may be some delays, okay, it may cause some delay. So these are the things. So using rail reduces congestion on the road. Congestion in the mean traffic, okay, on the roads. It is estimated that each train load of goods replaces 75 articulated truckloads on the road. So one railroad, they are specifying here for your examination purposes, 75 articulated truckloads is equivalent to one railroad. So that means at once you can transport bulk, okay. And third point, rail can be more reliable in terms of on-time delivery. Yeah, always you can see, even if you are going to travel by a train or rail, okay, there is a schedule of time, okay, schedule of arrival, schedule of, okay, departure, everything. So that means they work specifically on schedules, so it can be reliable. That means you can plan in advance. So rail can be more reliable in terms of on-time delivery, which can be beneficial when scheduling the movement of goods for immediate use. And the other benefit they are mentioning here, rail transportation is often much cheaper, particularly for the carriage of materials in bulk. That is, of course, because they want the government, most of the time the government, public sector also operates, but private sector operates also in so many countries. So we will have to look at who is the operator in this particular round line. But when you are going through the pre-scene, you can also refer and see. They have mentioned there are it is used by multiple, okay, multiple users or something, okay. It is a that means the facilities are shared as per my understanding, okay. So rail transportation is often much cheaper, particularly for the carriage of materials in bulk. And rail can be used to carry a range of products. So rail can be used to carry a range of products, of course. Wagons come in a variety of different configurations. That means different designs or different configuration, different models or something. And include not models, designs, so that mean to accommodate the goods for the transportation purposes, okay. Including open wagons for raw materials such as iron ore or tankers for liquids, and wagons adapted for special loads. Say for example, if it's iron ore, that means it is open. That means then only it is easy to load and unload. And tankers for liquids also, that means it is lifted by cranes, and if it is placed in the rail and okay, some placed in the correct position, and if you put some knots or something by iron or something, then it will be under safe, okay. So tankers for liquids and wagons adapted for special loads such as cars and vans. So that is which product you are going to transport, that is also there. And the usefulness of rail depends largely on the location of facilities that are convenient for loading. So the usefulness of rail depends largely on the location of facilities that are convenient for loading and unloading at either end of load's journey. So strategically speaking, how we can manage in this situation, that means railway, the usefulness of rail depends largely on the location of facilities. So where are the stations which are the stations which is supported for loading and unloading purposes with warehouse, that means have the facility to load and unload quickly. Or you may be thinking about your warehouse, choosing your warehouse near to, if you are strategically long-term plan for your, that means your customers and suppliers, you can choose, okay, you can decide, okay, where to locate your warehouses, okay, which may be convenient. So you have the decision making still, including loading and unloading at either end of a load's journey. And Roundland has an extensive network of railway lines that are used for passengers and freight. So they are telling that it's used for passengers and freight. That means it can be used for the purposes of passenger transport as well as freight. That means to transport the goods and services. All of the country's seaports have rail connections to their freight docks. So this is actually this is an advantage over their rail network, because it's connected with sea. That means that means rail imports and exports, okay. So they can imports, okay, also, that mean from overseas countries, international trade, and it enables actually speaking international trade. So imports also, they can get it from far away places, and they can transport from rail, because all of the countries' seaports have rail connections to their freight docks. So they are connected, and they can be transferred. And so it is possible to offload ships directly onto trains. The same way they can export also. That means from the places, okay, of warehouses, they can take into to the rail, and from that rail, okay, it will be shipped directly to the ship, okay, ship ports, okay. So it is possible to offload ships directly into trains. The railway lines are used by several rail operators. So this is the point you should note. So it is operated by several, not a monopoly one, enabling logistics companies to offer both rail freight and road for the transportation of goods. That means now they have the freedom to decide rail transport and on the road. Okay, but definitely if there is any possibility, they will go for rail transport because it is much cheaper and it can be scheduled with the time. That means they can pre-planned, and because the traffic may cause any delays or something, or whatever, suddenly the local events or international events can happen in around the country and around land, and due to that organized event, international events, some of the blocks may be blocked. Okay, some of the roads may be blocked, or that may cause, okay, there is a delay in transport or something, the unseen material can come up. So be prepared. That means rail transport have advantages, but you can't rely because the convenience of the location, it's still restricting. Okay, and C, it may be necessary to use sea freight simply because there are no alternatives when goods are to be transported to or from distant location. Yeah, if the distance is very far away places from country to country, definitely the cheap mode of transport may be the ship, sea freight. Okay, location. For example, roundland imports large quantities of grains from Northland, which is on the far side of the Western Ocean. So, for example, Roundland imports large quantities of grains from Northland, which is on the far side of the Western Ocean. So, definitely not this point. Okay, now we are almost under a global economic situation. That means whatever cheaper we will produce and whatever cheaper that we can get, we will import. That means it's international trade is influencing each and every country. So whatever that means, and by economic knowledge you have gained until this stage, okay, you may know that the resources are scarce. There is a scarcity for resources, raw materials and everything, even skilled labor, everything. So there is a scarcity, so you will have to manage the scarce resources. So for you to manage the scarce resources, you will have to look at what are the products and services to be internally managed, and what are the products to be imported from overseas or international countries, other countries. So in this situation, it seems that their cultivation is not that much good to satisfy their own economy. So they are importing some grains from which is on the far side of the Western Ocean. So grain from Northland, so which is on the far side of the Western Ocean. So it may be a situation that they are relying on overseas. So that means logistics in influencing in getting that to Roundland. The grain is transported to ports in Roundland on bulk carriers. So bulk carriers are used to transport from ports in Roundland. The grain is then transported by road or rail to factories where it used to make bread or other products. So their infrastructure is well established. It's a developed country. So they are telling that it's moved to, for the grains are moved to the factories, and where the factories are located, they straight away it goes to, they are going to make bread and bakery products. So bulk carriers, that means daily consumption. Okay, bakery products for daily consumption. Okay, bulk carriers have open halls that can carry large quantities of goods such as grain, ore or coal. Each type of load requires specialized equipment to allow it to be loaded and unload quickly and efficiently. Bulk goods are often loaded into open topped railway wagons at the dockside. So each type of load requires specialized equipment to allow it to be loaded. So that means for grains, specialized equipments to be for loading purposes. For the other one, okay, another kind of material or raw material, another kind of equipment is needed for loading purposes. That's what they are telling. Okay, quickly, that means some of the times this may be in bulk grains. Okay, so maybe container, and it can be one shot. Okay, by the use of uh, cranes and all. Okay, if it is packed in a or containers, if it is for bulk, okay, the containers can even transportation of the containers. So easy use of crane itself is good enough, but some of the other things may not be good because it may be for the other company like car parts or something. It may be heavy, and this one, and forklift can be used because it should be okay dealt with care. Okay, so each type of load requires specialized equipment to allow it to be loaded and unload quickly and efficiently. Bulk goods are open loaded into open topped railway wagons at the dock side. So bulk goods, it's easy anyway, so it's easy to handle. Okay, but liquids such as oil are carried on tanker ships. That means tankers are shipped. That means tankers are transferred from one to one. That means one delivery ship will be anchored, and the other that means the delivery ships will take from the ships and anchored ships. Okay, that means the delivery ships mean they reach, okay, uh, near nearby to the ship of the cargo ship, and they will take it, the cranes will be lift from main ship to the delivery ships, and the delivery ships will easily transfer from that from seaport to the particular location. Okay, port warehouses, and from warehouses the particular organizations or entities can be able to clear from the stock, okay, inventory. So liquids such as oil are carried on tanker ships. Liquids can be pumped from tankers into storage tanks by the dock side. Those liquids can then be pumped to smaller ships or into tankers towed by trucks or railway locomotives for onward transportation. So these liquids can then be pumped to smaller ships or into tankers towed by trucks or railway locomotives. So that is depends on the size and quantity of the operation of logistics, okay, concern, right. And the container ships carry goods in shipping containers, as you all have seen the container. Okay, containers are there, container yards is there, and there is a facility of okay, storing the containers. Okay, so container ships carry goods in shipping containers, which allow for rapid loading and unloading. So rapid loading and unloading, because it's a standard size of containers. So when the transport vehicles are coming into the port or something, that means it's the containers with load or something. Okay, oh, so sorry for the that mean from the ships. Okay, the cargo ships or something, it may be a load of containers, and for the destination, when they reach the destination of the country, that means it's unloaded. That means the containers will be shipped to the again delivery ship or delivery this one, and again warehouse it moves, and from the warehouse whatever exports, okay, from that particular country, okay, that will be loaded to that ship for the same destination where it going to move, okay, or going to travel. So many ports have container terminals that are equipped with cranes designed to lift containers. So definitely The advantage of these containers is standard size, so you can load and you can easily place it into the cargo ships or even other types of transport vehicles. So have containers, container terminals that are equipped with cranes designed to lift containers. Once unloaded, containers can be stacked ready to reload into another ship. So once unloaded, containers can be stacked ready to reload into another ship. That means unloaded, containers can be stacked ready to reload into another ship. Containers can also be loaded onto trucks or trains. Containers are standard sizes, which makes them easy to manage. So again, containers, it's very easy to unload the things into a delivery ship or a train or something. So it depends on this one. Shipping containers can also be brought to ports on railway wagons and trucks. So shipping containers can also be brought to ports on railway wagons and trucks. So shipping containers can also be brought to ports on railway wagons and trucks, making them a flexible means of transporting goods for export. That means for the port, for the shipping port, cargo transportation purposes, okay, it can be by means of a railway. That means rail can take the goods from several destinations, or it can be but trucks also. So flexible means of transporting, where it comes from. If you can use the rail, you can use it. If you can, okay, articulated trucks, or where you can use it. Articulated trucks can be carried on car ferries, which can allow for flexibility in making sea crossings that are served by ferry routes. So again, ferry routes, articulated trucks can be carried on car ferries. So it is included, the facility to articulated trucks can be carried on car ferries. So articulated trucks can be carried on car ferries. So cars can be transported, which can allow for flexibility in making sea crossings that are served by ferry routes. So there are 6 major ferry ports on Roundland's south and east coast. So there are 6 ferry ports. So there is a specific needs for ferry ports to car transportation. So make a note, okay. So Roundlands accommodate 6 only, okay, maybe 6 or 6 only, okay. Is it enough? Okay, we will continue with this pre-scene, okay. And all are used by trucks to carry freight between Roundland and foreign destinations. Roundland is a large island that has no road or rail links to other countries. So disadvantage here is they are not linked with any other rail links to other countries or road link also. So only mode is ship, ports, okay, shipping ports or airport terminals. Most 3PL logistics providers can manage the documentation associated with imports and exports by sea. So 3PL logistics providers, they manage their logistics by sea, that means seaports, cargo. In addition, making the necessary arrangements to charter ships or to organize the carriage of shipping containers by sea. So charter ships or organize the carriage by shipping containers by sea. And now we are moving to air freight. Freight can be carried by air. That means freight services can be carried by air, either on dedicated cargo aircraft or in the holds of passenger aircraft alongside luggage. So aircraft, they are specially designed aircraft for cargo purposes, okay, transporting goods, purpose of transporting goods, or some of the passenger aircraft can be used for the shipment of aircraft to shift some of the small items, okay, small but urgent purposes. Air freight is generally suited to high value goods that are small enough to be carried economically. So as you all know, this air freight, this courier service, all they are very good in okay, providing the service to airmail services for small, okay, documents or small paperwork related documents or small small quantity of goods and services. It may also be necessary to consider air freight for the transportation of goods. So it may also be necessary to consider air freight for the transportation of goods that are either urgent or that are perishable. That means airport transport is very fast. That means if you deliver to the destination, correct destination, hand over it to the correct destination, it will start moving and it will reach very fast because it's just flying. Okay, so in this occasion, perishable items such as vegetables and fruits also can be transferred, because if you decide to transport by sea or something, it will take some time, and by that time it is not suitable for the consumption. So that is the basic idea. So for example, fresh fruits and vegetables account for 10% of the freight of air freight arriving in Roundland. So that may be the reason. Some varieties must be imported from countries with warmer climates. Definitely Asia, something like that. Asia, India, Sri Lanka, or something like that. Warmer countries. And must be flown rather than shipped because they are unsuitable for freezing. So that means if the fruits and vegetables are cultivated in a warm geographical location, and if you try to store in a very refrigerated cool place, that may itself, that vegetables and fruits may not be the same, okay, quality, okay, that means it may not be good for consumption again, okay, because it's cultivated in a warmer climate, but when you start to cool, okay, in a refrigerated place or something, it's better, you can use it, but only for a short time of period. So in this occasion, air freight is good. So unsuitable for freezing and would not remain edible for the duration of a sea voyage. Cargo aircraft are configured to carry only freight. So cargo aircraft are configured to carry only freight. So that means they won't accommodate passengers. They can accommodate large items that are required urgently and so cannot be transported by overland or by ship. So they can accommodate large items that are required urgently and so cannot be transported by overland or by ship. That means the items which cannot be transported by ship, the cargo freight will be used to transport, okay, or large volumes of pallets such as high value electronics that must be transported quickly and securely. Yeah, as you all know, high value electronics, some of the times, some of the countries by, okay, friendly network, okay, by friendly countries, okay, to in order to reflect their values of relationships in relationship for the government of both publics of the country, okay, they share some valuable items, okay, they gift, okay, or even during the disasters, okay, economic disasters, natural disasters, okay, they may help each other. On this occasion also, they may choose the air freight, because if it is a natural disaster, maybe a flood or a poverty. Okay, it should be addressed fast in this occasion also. They can, rather than use sea freight, they can use, okay, air freight. It is possible to charter a cargo aircraft for a single urgent load or for regular deliveries of an item that requires the speed or security of air freight. Definitely, again, I have mentioned that what may be the reasons, maybe a natural disaster, okay, once, okay, in that cargo aircraft only, it's not a frequent one, but it's not a regular delivery, but up to the requirement, okay, up to the level of requirement, they may travel, and once the task is over, the country will also overcome. Once the supported country is also overcome from the particular disaster, then they discontinue. Okay, so until that it continues, something like. But regular deliveries means, that means there will be a necessity that some of the countries may be depending some of the items, say for example even fruits, okay, uh, some of the fruits may be belongs to Asia, and some of the Europe, okay, fruits belongs to Europe. So they will import fruits from Asia as well. They will export some of the fruits from Europe to Asia. So this may be apples and mangoes or pineapples, something like that, okay, of an item that requires the speed or security of air freight. So in this occasion, it is a regular deliveries are planned, okay, as per the requirement level. It is also possible to book consignments of freight onto the cargo aircraft. It is also possible to book consignments of freight onto the cargo aircraft operated by the major courier company. So it is also possible to book consignments of freight. So it is also possible to book consignments of freight onto the cargo aircraft operated by the major courier companies. So consignments, because courier companies also, as I mentioned earlier, that documents or some of the important small quantity, okay, transportation purposes, they may be booked for a particular space, okay, regularly, and they will make utilize that capacity utilization, utilize their capacity booked from the air freight terminals, okay, terminals as well, the airport that aircraft providers, okay. Those companies have regular flights between major transport hubs in most industrialized countries. So those companies have regular flights between, because they know where they usually get the business to transfer from, which the documents are flying from which area to which area, and accordingly they will okay, contract, or they will have some logistics arrangements with the aircraft facilities, okay. Most air freight is carried in the hulls of passenger aircraft. Why? Because if you are going to for the small things or something, passenger aircraft is the best one, because usually every passengers are allowed to carry a particular carriage, but every passengers are not using that capacity. So some may become unutilized capacity. So rather than flying and consuming lots of fuel, okay, and emission to the environment, if you are not utilizing fully, that is a mistake. Actually, that will be a mistake, and you can improve. So studies can be analyzed, and capacity utilization, and from that luggage can be planned. So most aircraft is carried in the halls of passenger aircraft. Airlines do not require all their hold space for passenger luggage and can generate significant additional revenue by carrying cargo. Goods must fit into the standard pallets used for air freight and clear the door to the aircraft hold. So this is the way they do. So goods must fit into the standard pallets. So standard pallets, they will define the size of the pallets, and accordingly these people, okay, used for air freight and clear the door to the aircraft hold. So that is the way they collect the pallets to cargo purposes in a passenger aircraft. All large airports are equipped to handle freight. So airports also equipped with to handle the freight. It is possible to transfer freight between aircraft on connecting flights. So some of the flights may not fly to the directly. Okay, so it will be transferred from air freight to air freight. Okay, flight to flight. So transfer freight between aircraft on connecting flights when there is no direct flight between a load's origin and its final destination. So it will be managed by the particular aircraft operators. It can be complicated to manage air freight. Many 3PL providers work with third-party specialists to deal with clients' needs. So once the air freight comes into the airports, okay, the 3PL providers, they know this okay, this that packages have come, or this to be transferred to the other aircraft which is going to fly, something like that. They will undertake and that, okay, they have the technology and everything, coordination, okay, they will this one. And intermodal transport involves the use of two or more modes in a single journey. So that means rather than relying on one mode, okay, that means not rather than, if it is not satisfied by, or if it is not completed by one way of transport, then we can call it